The haunting of the ghost dog in Seattle. Seattle is known for its rainy days and misty nights, but tucked away in the shadows of this seemingly serene city lies a house with a story that sends shivers down the spine of anyone who steps inside. This isn't just a story about a haunted house. This is a story about a haunted pet, a dog who refuses to leave, even after death. Welcome to The Haunting of the Ghost Dog in Seattle. Our story begins with a young pet sitter named Sarah, a college student who spent weekends and holidays caring for pets around Seattle. Sarah thought she'd seen it all. That is, until she agreed to house sit for an elderly woman named Margaret in an old Victorian home on the outskirts of the city. Margaret had one rule: look after my cat, Bella, but leave the basement door locked. You're not supposed to go down there. A strange request, but Sarah was used to eccentricities from her clients. Besides, she didn't know that this would be a job she'd never forget. The first night seemed normal. Sarah fed Bella, explored the creaky house, and settled down in the cozy, old-fashioned living room. Just as she was getting comfortable, she heard it, a faint scratching noise coming from the kitchen. Bella perked up, her ears twitching, staring into the darkness of the hallway. Sarah got up, walked into the kitchen, and found nothing. Thinking it was just an old house settling in the night, she shrugged it off and went back to her book. But Bella, the cat, stayed frozen, her eyes wide, staring down the hall as if she could see something Sarah couldn't. Hours later, Sarah woke up to an unmistakable sound, deep, heavy breathing. She lay frozen, her heart pounding as she listened. She convinced herself it was nothing, until she heard it again, louder and closer. It was coming from just outside her door. Summoning courage, Sarah cracked her door open, expecting to find Bella. But instead, there was nothing, only a cold draft that sent chills up her spine. And there, in the hallway, she saw it, large, muddy paw prints. They trailed from the kitchen to her door and then vanished into the darkness. In the morning, Sarah decided to call Margaret. She described what she'd seen, the noises, the paw prints. But Margaret only sighed. She admitted that their asterisk was asterisk a dog once, a German shepherd named Max. He'd been her loyal companion for over a decade, but his final moments were tragic. Margaret explained that Max had died right there in the house, in the basement. He was protecting her from a break-in when he was attacked, and he never really left. Margaret had locked the basement ever since, convinced that Max's spirit lingered there, guarding the home even after death. That night, the scratching started earlier, louder than before. Sarah could hear it coming from different parts of the house, as if something was moving, patrolling. Then, there was a deep, menacing growl, and she realized it wasn't just footsteps. It sounded as though Max was right there, invisible but undeniably real. Suddenly, Bella bolted from her hiding spot, running to the locked basement door, hissing and clawing at it frantically. Sarah knew she should stay away, but something compelled her to approach. As she did, the door handle began to shake on its own. Unable to resist, Sarah opened the basement door. A chilling breeze hit her face and she descended, step by trembling step. At the bottom, she heard soft whining, as if a dog were in pain. She whispered, "Max?" And then she felt it, a cold, heavy weight brush against her leg. But when she shone her flashlight down, there was nothing there. Just then, the door slammed shut behind her. In the silence, she felt the presence move away, and she knew Max was watching, protecting. The next morning, Sarah packed up her things and left, unable to shake the feeling that something had been watching her. She told Margaret about the encounter, and Margaret only smiled sadly. She thanked Sarah, saying that Max must have felt she was part of the family if he'd shown himself to her. To this day, Margaret claims Max still guards her house. And for Sarah, The memory of that unseen protector, haunting, loyal, and ever-present, will never fade. Some bonds are unbreakable. For Margaret, her loyal friend Max remains at her side, protecting her even in the afterlife. Sometimes, love and loyalty endure, far beyond life and death. And sometimes, it takes a haunting form. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more chilling stories from the darkest corners of the world. And remember, if you hear scratching in the night, maybe it's just a friendly spirit keeping watch.